Hey, this is Notser, and this is Queen Elizabeth. Now, the Queen might look familiar. That's because the Warspite is a Queen Elizabeth class battleship. With that being said, do they share any similarities, Notser, other than appearance? Absolutely. So this is the mainline Tier 6. The Warspite is clearly the premium Tier 6, and it's been a part of the British tech tree since forever. It was one of the first premiums, period, to get anyone interested in British ships to buy into it, right? Now, the Warspite has gone through a couple changes, but generally, the Warspite has very large gun caliber for its tier, 381. The turret traverse is mediocre to bad, and I'm going to get into why the Queen's a little worse in that regard. Turn radius is fantastic. Rudder shift time is also fantastic. Very nimble, the Warspite. Not quite so with the Queen. Queen Elizabeth has 72-second base turret traverse. This is without expert marksman. You would absolutely take expert marksman. This is what it used to be for the Warspite before they buffed it. The turn radius is horrible on the Queen Elizabeth versus the Warspite. Rudder shift time is basically the same. AA is better on the Queen. However, it's not good enough for you to go, oh man, this is so noticeable. No, it's going from not bad to mediocre. That's basically where it sits. So they're very close in their effectiveness. There's not really more to say about the ships. They're very similar, and it does feel like the Queen gives up a little bit compared to the Warspite. At least for me, I would prefer a tighter turn radius and a faster gun traverse. They have the same gun caliber, basically the same rate of fire, a little bit different range. I think it's like 500 meters difference, but it's so close, right? The tangible thing you'll notice if you're coming from the Warspite to Queen Elizabeth is the turret traverse. You're going to be like, did I go back in time? And you kind of did. You kind of did. It's at least 15, 20 seconds slower than the Warspite. And the Warspite's bad. The Warspite is right up there with the Yamato. So just keep that in mind. But does that mean the ship is useless? Well, no. It's a tier 6 with 381. The Bayern has that as well. Unfortunately for the Bayern, it's not quite as accurate. These are very consistent guns that go where you aim. Speaking of it, we got that kill on the Fuso. Admittedly, someone did a lot more damage than we did just before our shells hit. He probably deserved that kill, but the target's dead. The game is far too close to care about who gets the kill right now. We need to just take out targets that show their broadside, are completely out in the open, and ready for the Citadel. So I'm going to aim a little bit forward of his ship, elevate the gun because it does look like he's turning, and hope that RNG worked out in our favor. Which it did. We got 2 Citadels, we took out that target, basically full life to nothing, and that's exactly what we needed to get ourselves back in the game. Because the enemy team, it does look like it's equal to a little bit of an advantage for us. The enemy has 2 destroyers, and that's a huge asset to have whenever you're trying to keep control of the objective part of the game, or wrestle it away from your team. I've got a friendly that's extremely far forward. There are a couple enemy ships that are engaging him. There's a DD, and we just lost a friendly to torpedoes. So I'm just trying to find a target that I can engage with. I am behind the smoke, so it's going to be shielded a little bit. If we are shown when we fire, we know that there is a destroyer somewhere out front, or there's an aircraft up. Neither spot us, so that's a pretty good sign that the enemy team lacks a lot of vision. But I didn't get quite as much damage as I wanted, and the friendly is about to die. Yeah, there goes the friendly. Poor York. So the ship is, for speed, I would say it's above the American battleships, but it's still pretty slow. It's really slow considering this is the last slow British battleship you will have in this line. Up until this line, you've got a 305, 343. I believe it goes to 356 or 381 and 381. And you feel the 381. But you also have a slow progression of speed. It's very American battleship to borderline Japanese. Yeah, Japanese would be a good comparison. That 21 to 25 knots, that's about where you want. It's hard to get in and play the objective as quickly as you would like. Anyone who's played the Warspite knows that to heart. This does take just as much damage as the Warspite, but it does have the Warspite's heal. So just imagine that all the British battleships take a lot of damage, but they heal a lot of damage back. You just have to get in the mindset of doing that and being comfortable with that. If you're not comfortable taking damage, well, the British battleships are probably not for you. Enemy battleship showing a ton of his side. I fire near the waterline, and we get 7,300. 2 actually shatter on the ship. So I think they hit the gun mantlet or something like that. Heavily armored. That's the only place on the ship that I think it should shatter, but you will see later on. I might be wrong on that one. So we're in the base capture. We need to capture the base. The enemy just captured a base that we used to have, and they are ahead on points. So this is not looking too good. Again, I go for the waterline. Again, torpedoes incoming. Thankfully, they don't have the range. The friendly cruiser's taking a ton of damage. I'm just trying to capture the base or trying to corner off some of the enemy. I don't want to engage them all at once. And it seems that the York absolutely wants to do that. He is going to use his torpedoes. That's probably what he wanted to do. And I'm just trying to maybe take out that battleship before he can hide. He was showing a ton of side. If I could. Just couldn't kill him. And now we have no information about what's in front of us. The York, although I think the York either has him line. Oh, did the York missed? Did the York miss? He did get a torpedo attack, but I think he missed his shot on the DD. I think the DD's still alive. God, how did he miss? I didn't even catch that on the first playthrough. Okay, here we go. But I look how cheap I am with this. I'm trying to keep as much as I can. And gosh, we've had to fire so much at this target that should be dead. Enemy is in the smoke, so he can't see me, and I'm hoping that he'll show his side. Yep, okay. Remember, you can overmatch the bow, so don't be afraid to fire at it all the time. As the 381, Queen Elizabeth. It's a very important trait that gives you an advantage. I just hope everyone understands exactly. Yeah, look at that. Easy to overpen. I should aim just slightly to the left, I think. Yeah, just right there. That way it goes in and it doesn't overmatch. It will just penetrate the armor. I mean, overpen. What did I say? Overmatch. It should penetrate the armor and stick and do penetration damage. But we don't kill the target yet. And it's just so close. I'm hoping the friendly battleship can take him out. I think he just fired HE. I don't know why he's firing HE. I'm curious where the enemy ships are. Just looking around, trying to gauge where the enemy is. Again, this turret traverse is an issue. And oh, of course, we've got an enemy battleship. 406, by the way. Doesn't care about my armor. Now look at where I aim this shot. It goes midship. And 6 shells shatter on the ship's belt line. And I'm screaming in stream. I couldn't believe all 6 shattered. So I think there's something weird with the short fuse and the way the shell works. I just couldn't imagine that he had enough angling to completely stop all 6 shells, you know? Some people were talking about, and look, the exact same placement, nearly the exact same placement, we have 4 penetrations. We don't have overpens, we don't have any of that, and he might have softened his angle just slightly, and I'm just trying to hide. I'm trying to run for the nearest island, get it in line of sight, try and get a rearm, and hope that the enemy makes a mistake. My aircraft is not available, unfortunately. Now, while this is going on, this is one of the games that really made me think, you know, maybe it's just better to shoot at the top of the hull for the Brits because of that short fuse, because of the length of an enemy battleship. You're probably never going to break out, right? As long as you shoot when he's broadside and you aim for mid to top of the hull, you should be able to break through and never break out. And that's going to do very high consistent damage. Yeah, you're going to miss out on citadels, but high consistent damage works very well. I should know. And look how close this game is. I'm just trying to survive. I know I'm detected. I don't know who is detecting me, where he's detecting me. I still don't have my aircraft. I have to pre-plan. I have to decide where the enemy battleship could be. I obviously am showing way too much side, but there's really nothing I can do. And yep, here comes the shots. He nicks a ton of the island. We have a chance. We have a chance. Again, at this point, I hadn't decided to aim up. I aim low. We get 4 overpen for whatever weird reason. I guess. How could I overpen and shatter on basically the same part of the ship? I don't know. Friendly takes the target out, but I have just sustained way too much damage, and the enemy Atlanta takes me out. We were so close to winning that game, and it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Not enough time in the game, and oh man, do I feel like the sickest player. I basically lost a salvo. If I had, well, 2 salvos, right? That DD should have been dead. And I lost the first salvo on the Colorado. If I would have had both of those salvos back, we probably would have been in a position to win the game. That's how close this game was. I would have been able to address the Atlanta. I would have been able to just run and hide, worst case scenario, and we probably would have won the game. So, just one of those close matches. I do like the 381 gun caliber. It feels really good. I do like the accuracy versus the Bayern. You really miss accuracy when you're firing with the Bayern. But the rate of fire is why you pick the Germans and the turret traverse. Clearly the Bayern has advantages over the Warspite. Even now I call it the Warspite. Queen Elizabeth. But it's a solid ship. It's very familiar. If you've played the Warspite, it feels to me like a weaker Warspite, just because the traits that are worse are ones that I value more. Super close game. I enjoyed it. I hope you all enjoyed it. The Atlanta did a great job on the enemy team. I'm going to compliment them as such. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.